with Andy from Deville. If you don't know him, you should check him out. Really cool band. Um, they've got a new album, 20 Years. It kind of goes through, it's a little bit of everything, right? From like,
Yep. From almost all of our 6 records except one.
okay,
So
which one is it missing?
Halo Black Sky. Because yeah, there isn't any songs that we play live, and yeah, haven't got, didn't stuck in the set, or it's like, yeah. So, but it doesn't feel wrong or anything. It's not a must to pick one from all the records. So
Sure.
it was a fun thing to do it like this. We're not a band that need to do this. We can put out a new record also, but since how it turned out, it was really fun thing to do, to I don't know what you call it, to like a summary, what do you call it, like
I know what you're saying. The word, I'm not real good with words, so it's like I know
no,
what you're
but
saying.
You collect the last 20 years and look back at it, and it's like but it feels really familiar, because all these songs we play live a lot, and we play a lot live. So, and with the new songs, it was a fun thing to do, because we needed something to make a long story short. It was just business people that suggested to that we needed content. Content is really, I don't like that at all, and we don't have to go into that, but you need, it was like, yeah, we can do that. It's not too much work, and we can go into the studio and do it. So it was a fun thing, and it turned out really good. But it wasn't really our idea from the beginning.
Sure.
And we didn't get anything really out from them who suggested it. So, but that's another story. So
Yeah.
no, but it's a fun thing, and I don't want to have it, that we didn't do it. So no, it was it's fun that it's out there now.
Yeah. Well, I think, from a content perspective, especially in current times, everyone pushes content. You need more content. You need more content.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a little bit weird, because we come from one part from the old school part, and one part with the internet.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be here without the internet. So we're a little bit in between. If
I think
this.
it's like that for a lot of bands, right? Like a lot of bands wouldn't exist if not for the internet.
It can get a little hysterical, I think.
Yeah.
And they're so depending on this digital stuff, compared to the community. When we started out, like, it was more community based. Now it's just numbers and followers, and likes and stuff, and that's not that's not what we grew up with. But
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah. You grow up, and I think there are a lot of bands that still have the same ethics or ethos, right, as back in the 80s and 90s, where they play music to play music. It's what they like. It's what they're driven to. And it's, I think that's kind of what you're getting at, right? Versus the let's push everything we absolutely can on Facebook and Instagram and the TikTok and all that crazy stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But on the other hand, you have the opportunity to be more independent now, but then you have to accept that you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
If back in the days you could just leave the work to someone else, but you were not independent then. So it's like you have to give and take. I like that we can do what we like, but it's a cost also, because we don't give away anything of ours, then that we leave it on a certain level, just to feel like no one is taking advantage of us, because we've been around so long. So we have done bad deals and done bad decisions, and it feels better in the long run to not sacrifice that, even though it can be smart to just leave it over to professionals, some parts, but then it should be feel really right, and the contract should be good, and it shouldn't feel like you're like fooled or something. So
Right.
it's really hard, same for everyone in the business. It's like you have to give and take, but yeah, the good part is that it's easier now to be independent, but you have to work really hard to get through the masses. So it's not easy. It's yeah.
No, it's not easy, but like I think
Mm.
the industry is not for the faint of heart either, right? Like
No.
it's real easy to get discouraged because I mean, right after 20 years of playing, you learn there's a whole hell of a lot of no's that happen.
Yeah. And it's like I'm not, if we have a business deal with someone and they say no, it's not working out, and I'm like, yeah, okay, just continue. I'm like like it's like, I don't know, I get more angry with a flat tire. It's
Yeah.
like it's like I can't take it personal. And I don't. The problem is I like it more now. We had so many deals in with so many parts with bookings and record deals and everything. I like more if they're honest. They can say, "Yeah, let's work for half a year. If we don't earn money on you, we go separate ways." Then I
Yeah.
know it's just, and I know it's, no matter what they say, they say they see a possibility to earn money. So see, if they don't do it, then I know how it is, and then we know what kind of deal we have. But on the other hand, there are people can say, no, I trust in you, and you have something really special, I believe in you, and we can do something really good. And it's just bullshit. It's
Sometimes,
uh
not always, right? I think sometimes people actually believe in you, and they just don't know maybe the
yeah, but
correct avenues.
yeah, true. Now, but I'm not the, I it's yeah, because of 20 years,
Yeah.
I I just take all the bad parts and the good parts, and just just keep on going, because I know how it is in the business. And it's not really, we don't see it like it's a bad thing, because as you say, sometimes you run into really good people, and we have done that also. um, but most of the times the good people don't have the muscles or the strength or the
Mhm.
contacts, take it to the next level, because they don't have the money, because they have the heart instead. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces there that I think a lot of that people don't really understand, especially when someone's like, "Hey, I believe in your band. Let me help you get to the next place." I mean, shit,
mm,
a lot of people I think, have stepped into to bands that have really good music and should be able to take it to this next level, and that one person just doesn't. Um, Maybe they don't know how to handle other people that they're dealing with, or they don't know exactly the next steps to take, and whether if their heart's in the right place, right? Like that's neither here nor there. They're not doing what they actually need to do to get the band there.
yeah, no,
So
no, that's true. I completely agree.
yeah, I mean it's an unfortunate part of life, and it's not even just in bands, it's just in business in general, right?
Yeah, yeah, but it's, as we spoke about, we didn't start this because of the money, because you can't go on for 20 years playing this kind of music if you do it for the money. Then you quit like after 2 years.
Yeah.
We have friends that are full-time musicians, and are really business minded, and turn their careers of music, the genres they play, into a more commercial way or so. But I don't think I could do that and still have the energy, and do that if it doesn't come from the heart. So maybe I'm stupid, but it's like,
Hmm.
I earn my living, I'd rather do that in another way than trying to do it through what I my biggest passion is. So I don't want to destroy that. I tried and didn't feel good at all. So I won't.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think sometimes, when you're trying to turn your passion uh into a business, it's you lose sight of where that passion is, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I've got to be dollar driven, but I think that's where a lot of people make a mistake, is you don't necessarily have to be dollar driven and still be able to turn the music into a career. I mean, look at Tech Nine did it, right?
Yeah.
And he's done it completely independently. I don't know. I feel like I just read an article lately that says he's worth like $100 million, which is insane.
Mm. Mm.
Like going from nothing to 100 million. I mean, it's been 20 or 25 years, but like to do it on his terms, his way is like, holy shit. But
Yeah.
not everyone um not everyone can do that, right?
No, no, that's of course it's maybe not one of a kind, but it's really impressive to
Yeah,
do it that way. So
for
yeah, yeah,
sure.
of course, those artists are there, of course, as also, and the great thing is also that the ones that do it for the passion and the love of the music and then succeed also commercially are the ones that lasts for forever. Like I think like a band like Oasis or
Yeah.
Nirvana or all these bands that I grew up when I was a teenager, starting, when I started to play guitar, all these, big, fundamental songs they had. And they're still around. People still discover them. Kids still listen to it, and it's not it's not marketing. It's still there because it means something to people. It's not a product.
Yeah.
They're not pushed by labels. They just
Well,
exist, and
I
it's
don't
like,
know, right? Like if we look at the early days of both, let's look specifically at both of those bands. They were both pushed as a product,
yeah,
right?
that's true.
And it did come out, and both bands, they took they were the public took them and ran with it, and they just also had songs that last, right? Like Black Sabbath, they have songs that honestly are just timeless. Like you can put on any album from any of those bands and it still feels as fresh today as when it was released.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, but I think so also that those bands have something special because many bands got the opportunity back then with big contracts and big product, big marketing. So, but many of them aren't still there.
Sure.
I think you needed both parts back then when you gave everything away to a label or
Yeah.
management or something. So, um, but other generations also discover them, and yeah, it's really interesting how what music survives during the generations.
Well, yeah, because you don't know, when you're writing a song, it's like, oh, I'm gonna write a song. Like, I think this sounds good. Cool. I'm gonna go with it. I guess, kind of to our earlier conversation about content,
Mm,
they you put out enough and someone's gonna grab it and just really run with it,
yeah.
you know?
I-
Um,
yeah.
but I also think that the success of a band isn't reliant on one thing. It's reliant on a whole
Yeah.
lot of aspects, right? Like how much effort does the band itself going to put into it? The
Mm,
quality of songs and I say quality, that's of course going to be, perception. It's going to be an objective perception. So, you have that. How much marketing is going behind it? What PR is coming behind that?
mm,
Like it's got to be, you've got to have every piece of the pie for it to do
yeah.
something, and not just, like really good marketing. If you're a shit band, it doesn't matter how much good marketing you have, you're a shit
No,
band.
yeah. We've seen examples of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to have it all anyway, so it works. Like, you have to be long lasting at least.
Yeah. Well, and then if we look at, bands that lasted, like bands that lasted don't write, they don't play music for that mighty dollar. They play music because it's what they, they're driven to do it, and it wouldn't matter if they were playing to a stadium or to two people at the bar. They're going to be out there playing anyway, right? But they're writing music like you guys, writing music that you enjoy, which I think helps keep that that longevity.
Yeah, it's still interesting and still fun, and we got, there've been some changes in the band with members and everything, but we are kind of the same level now, everyone in the band. It makes so much easier to play as much as possible like we do, and what that we love to do.
Yeah.
And that makes everything so much easier to be on the same level on that part, being on the road and everything. So yeah, it's you have to have that passion,
Absolutely.
to keep yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
20 years.
yeah, and sometimes changing members like you guys have done, I think some people don't realize that a band is so much like marriage. You're going to have high times and low times, and you've got to be willing to stick through all of it.
Yeah. Now it was tough. I don't know if you have a questions you want to ask. You can ask them, but I can say, like, the pandemic was a really tough time. It was maybe the toughest time for all bands, but also us. And it was weird, and it wasn't made out of joy and everything. Just 1 second. One second here. Yeah, sorry. Hey, jag är en intervju, Tove. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. It was my daughter.
You're good. Mine's at school, so I'm good.
Yeah. It's 8 in the evening here in Sweden.
Oh, gotcha. So let's talk about the pandemic and what it did for you guys. Like, how did that affect the band as a whole?
You said it was like a family, and we had big plans. In 2020 we were supposed to go to Australia on tour for the first time, and that's a big thing for a band like us. It's a lot of money, a lot of planning, and it's a really big thing for to organize and to be able to do also. So it's a big step, to say for a band like us. We've been to Australia, it's huge. It's even one of the biggest things to been touring Australia. So yeah, we're supposed to do that in 2020, and the world closed like 3 weeks before we're supposed to go.
Oh man.
And nothing happened there, and we didn't have a new record out. It was from 2018, so we're still touring on that record. And then the years went by. We maybe did one show later that year, or was it next? Yeah, 2020 it was the worst. Yeah. And then time went by, and it was really in 2021 we couldn't do anything for a year, I think.
Yeah.
So we had to do something, and we started to write. So it was kind of forced writing, and we had never done that before, because we felt like it always come naturally before when we felt ready to do something. But we didn't have anything to do, so we did that. And then we came back to the song so many times, it felt like we were tired of them even before we have recorded them.
Oh yeah.
Because it never ended. It went like. So I think we went into the studio during the pandemic. Yeah, I think I was something in 2021, and we could play a little bit late 2021. Then it closed again, but then it opened up early 20. I don't really remember the years here now, but it opened up here, and we could do a tour in 2022. But then there were some changes in the band with the members. Our guitarist quit, and I think it was really a test, that whole period of time, because that record, I don't feel like it was done in they're good songs, actually, that we play live, from there, and it was really, we worked so much on it, so it's really like, it's not like we did it in 2 weeks. We had so much time. So it's very,
Yeah.
all the details and everything in songwriting, we had the time, so it's not that, but the feeling of it wasn't right. It was like we have just to, we must do this because it's we don't have anything else to do, and we can't, like a band put out a record in 2018, and then when it's time, it's like time is just passing. We need to do something. But that was weird, and that was quite a test. And we put out that record, and there was a tough tour in 2022, and we had Eric. We did a strange switch in the band. Was like our bassist took over the guitar, Martin, and we had took in a new bass player, Eric. So we're that lineup now, but in the beginning there it was tough. But then in 2023 we could do we did finally the Australian tour, and that was really amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got back on track, and we have fun again, and we do this record now, and we're gonna go on tour in October, November. We had a good, kind of good festival run back in Sweden and around in Denmark. We're doing a festival in Spain in a couple of weeks, and then we're going and doing at least, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 countries in Europe
Cool.
in October, November. We're a special guest for another band, Swedish band. So yeah, it's rolling on here.
Yeah. So I think, the pandemic really affected a lot of bands. It obviously affected everyone differently, right? Especially the isolation, because it was, I feel like 80 or 90% of the world was like, you have to stay home. You can't go and do anything. Like, there was so much, for lack of a better term, like propaganda, that was shoved down our
Yeah.
throats that no one really knew. Like, they didn't know what was going to affect it. They didn't know, like, but we're going to make you stay home. I think it hurt a lot of people mentally.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. And we were pretty open here in Sweden. We went to work, and we could do the restaurants and clubs. There were no live music, but the restaurants were open to a certain time. They were not really closed, and you just have these restrictions. So everything else was, and all the sports were just without audience. And so that was it. It was like the city closed, or entertainment, everything that. But on the rest was the rest was open. We were allowed to do anything, compared to so many other countries you heard stories from that you were completely like locked down and stuff. So
Yeah.
I can imagine that people really have changed mentally after that, because you never know before you go through a thing like that. So
yeah, I mean, we're
so
social creatures,
we were pretty good back here, like but from playing in a band view, it was a disaster,
Yeah.
like you say, in because there was no blueprint for that, how you handle that kind of situations.
Yeah. That no one had any idea. So I think, for bands, a lot of bands broke up, and you had bands who broke up, and then you had bands who adapted, like you all, right? Like, we're gonna figure this out. Okay, we can't play shows. Let's go play music, and
Yeah.
we're
Yeah,
gonna.
but it was it didn't feel like in a natural way, but we did it then.
Yeah. So
So
how would you rate
yeah.
that versus the rest of the albums on a scale?
Oh, that's really tough, because all the albums like represent that period of time where we were
Yeah.
in the back. The first record was really recorded by ourselves, and our original drummer that was on the first was Come As We Sleep, Hell Black Sky, had 3 records. we started a band, Marcus and I, and he had a studio, so we recorded everything. And he's a producer now and the sound engineer. So he recorded all of the first three and recorded the records after that. But we did it together, like in rehearsal during like two periods of recording sessions. But the first record, you know, we felt we had something going, and the second one was just a follow-up on that one, so we could continue tour, because we came out and tour in Europe really on a bigger scale compared to we released a split record in 2006, and we made our first German tour. So we got the opportunity to we signed with a Belgian label, and they put out these two records, Come Every Sleep and Hail Black Sky, and then we could tour a lot. So there was like that area, we were the same lineup, and then we're like, after that, we toured so much, got much more experience. It was, let's say, a little more than 10 years ago. And we did Hydra then also. We got access to a studio where Marcus started to working, and we spent like 2 years on that record. And Send It Around was mixed by so many different people, and yeah, we really wanted it to be something extra compared to the two first albums. So like every album represents a certain period where we were, you know, like a band, what we have done and everything, and that just continued. And Marcus left and later on because he's freelance, so he couldn't be on tour that much, or we couldn't pay him the same money as he, you know, that's how it is. But it still was back home, and we were his customers and could, you know, record at his studio, and he knew us, so it was really easy to do after. No, actually, he did Make It Belong to Us also, and he was still in the band, but he quit. He didn't tour on that record later.
Okay.
So he played drums and recorded, so he did 4 records. And then after that, we changed lineup for Pigs with Gods that came out 2 years later only. So and then, you know, that made a mark on that record, and we always wanted to do something else with every record. The later records, to develop the sound, what we wanted to do, what we didn't do good on other records, and what we did good, and what works live in this, you know, with this setting in the band, and that has continued really. So we'll see now how the next record will be, because it took a little more like a metal turn a few records back, and it has been fun, but you know, some part of me liked that, and some part of me also like the basic stuff, you know, like that isn't that complicated, or like more like, you know, fundamental groove or something like that. But you know, we're also big fans of Mastodon, and you know, so it's a balance between those that it should be approachable, and it should also be like, wow, that's something else, and it takes turns, you know, just unexpected, and you know, with different drum parts and everything, and timings and everything. So yeah, we will see. It will of course be Deville, but we don't know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Well, and you never do, right? Like until you actually get there.
No,
you know, you go in thinking, oh, we're gonna make this record sound like this, and you end up like way over here, like, oh, I mean, it sounds great, but I did not expect that. You know.
But it was fun because we used a guy that we haven't recorded with before, Ulf Blomberg, a guy from here south, and he has been recording for the last 20 years. He's really known in death metal and black metal and grind and punk, you know, more extreme music than we play, but it's not that far when it comes. And he did really good job on those songs with Dust and the cover of Nine Inch Nails that we did. So I think he's a I think we gonna try to go back to him when we're gonna record again, depending on a lot of, studio time is available, prices and everything. But he's like, he did a really good job, so it would be fun to be able to work with him again.
Yeah, I think the album turned out really good. I like the production of it. It's a really palatable production. It doesn't, it's not way off in left field where you're like, oh, that, that guitar is way out, and like it works really well together.
Yeah, it's hi-fi, but it's also kind of, not too hi-fi,
Yeah.
and we had a it's a good balance and everything, and it seems also kind of raw, and he was easy to work with. So I hope we will be able to work with him again. But he's full-time sound engineer producer, so we'll see when we have songs ready if he's available. So
have you guys started writing new songs for the next album?
no, we haven't, but after this tour we will. I think it's time, because the other guys have ideas and they're really really hungry to do that, especially the guys that haven't been in the band for so long. They're
Right.
like, I have ideas, when we're gonna start. And it's like, yeah, we're just gonna feel right, the right timing, and it's gonna be after this tour. So then we have time, and we toured so much, so yeah, we're gonna give that some time to write new stuff, and then we'll see how it turns out and who's needed to take care of those songs.
Yeah.
What kind of it will be.
So has 20 years done what you or what the label expected it to do for you guys so far?
Um, it's we changed labels so many times. We started out, with a small label in Germany back in 2006 called Deville Records, released a split, and then we went to Buzzville Records, that were kind of a big independent label in early 2000s in Belgium, and then we went to Small Stone Records in Detroit, that put out a lot of classic bands in the alternative heavier rock. But we were kind of the last. I feel like we were one of the last bands that I put effort on, because it kind of disappeared. They still put out records, but it's not in the spotlight like that anymore. That looks, one of the
Yeah.
legendary labels. They have a good legacy, but I don't know what the plan is nowadays. So they did a really good job on Hydra, and we came to the US and toured on that record also. Really punk tour with it. It was tough, but fun. And then we signed Fusorom. After that, the guys have been on our back, that they thought they're gonna do a good job. So we signed with them for Make It Belong to Us, and put out 2 records there. It's the label of Truck Fighters,
Mm-hmm.
a big band in the genre. So they put out 2 records, and then we, business wise, they weren't satisfied, we weren't satisfied, so we agreed to go separate ways, and we did. And now we're on a smaller Swiss label called 16 Time Music, and it's like I said before, it's less complicated, and they're really good guys, and we know what to expect, and it's kind of easier, but we are aware also what their limits are, and but so you have to give and take. It's like you don't give away stuff that you don't want to give away.
Right.
And but on the other hand, we also must be aware of that they have limits also, with marketing and everything. So but we are there, and they put out the Heavy Lies the Crown, and put out this 20 years, the compilation with them. And it's been, they done a good job. I've done a lot of interviews, and we did some promotion here in Scandinavia, and feedback has been really good on the record, you know.
Yeah.
And that's uh, fun to get that feedback, because when you put those songs together, it's like I got the feeling that I would like to put out a record that gives that feeling, you
Yeah.
know, you
Yeah.
know, with new songs, but it's not easy because it took, you know, 15 years to get those songs together. Uh, yeah, 18 from 2006 to this, yeah, so like 18 years maybe.
Yeah.
So you know, it's not easy, but I like the vibe, and so maybe I have to figure out how to get that vibe from that record. So that's actually the story. So we've been around on many labels during the years, just because that, yeah, of different reasons. Some labels quit the business because they were only selling CDs back in the early 2000, and
Yeah.
it died, the whole CD, you know, business.
CDs
And
died, and you have like
yeah.
Napster taking over and all these streaming really starting to take over. So I mean, it's like every industry, I think, they ebb and flow and things change,
Yeah.
and some labels they have a hard time adjusting to what that, whatever that thing is.
Mm.
Going from CDs to digital, I'm sure there's probably like a lot of fallout with labels with that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of fun thing, because I don't know, really, because what we're selling vinyls and t-shirts and other
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But you know, this our label is like, they're convinced, they always like print a lot of CDs, and I don't know, we're not selling CDs, but they're like, yeah, that's a part of the deal, and you should have that. I don't know if it's for promotion or everything. Not this one, because we did digital, and we did a super limited old school cassette that we sell, you know, only at shows, and they sell it also. So it's really like special limited just for this release.
Yeah. I think
Uh,
a lot of people are doing that too right now, cassettes.
yeah, because it's like kind of a collector's value in it, I think. And some people, you know, they buy it because they think, yeah, it's a cool thing. And we got that reaction.
Yeah.
Was, oh, you have a cassette? Yeah, I want that, because it's cool to have, you know. Especially in these times when it's, you know, when a format gets old, it's get, you know, it's not trendy, but it's special, you know.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah. But the thing is that's weird that they still print CDs, and if you look at the big rock metal magazine, it's released in digital LP and CD still. So I don't know if it's sometimes when we go down to Germany, there are guys buying CDs in Germany, so they're not that into Spotify yet. They're a little more like old-fashioned down there. So that's
Yeah.
maybe why in those countries, Austria, Switzerland, Germany, compared to up here, you know.
Those
But the
German
thing is that,
guys are in the Stone Age. They're still listening to
yeah,
CDs.
no, it's good, but they're also into, you know, the
Yeah.
LPs thing. They're really hardcore fans down there. But it's so strange how different it can be, because it's so near. You know, we
Yeah.
go to Germany in 2 hours just across the water. You know, it's so close. So, and the culture is so alike, but not this part. So in the music business. So that's probably why they still put out CDs. But I
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Well,
We have all those
uh,
boxes in our rehearsal.
I tell you, a lot of people here still buy CDs. I don't get it either. Like I do, I collect vinyl, but like if someone's like, "Hey, I'll sell you a CD." If they don't have vinyl, I'll buy it just to support the band,
Yeah.
but otherwise I'm like, "Give me a vinyl and a t-shirt." I've got stacks of CDs. I can't tell you the last time I listened to a CD.
No, no.
Like,
I have a exactly. It's like a collect. It's like a part of your life that you won't throw away because you put so much money and effort to it. So I still
yeah,
have it here on the shelf. But it's like, now we can have it. It's just collecting dust. You know,
yeah,
it's like, but you know, there's so much personal value value in it. So it's like a holy thing. You don't want to throw it away or something. So
for sure. Well,
yeah.
so let's talk about live shows for a minute. Like
Yeah.
for you, obviously, you know, the band being together 20 years,
Mm.
is there a show that really sticks out to you as like, man, this was the best time ever, or maybe, oh my God, this hilarious thing happened and I'll never forget that?
Yeah, I have to think about this one. I don't know. There's a, where we were like a band, what we started with, maybe a big thing for us when we had this legendary club in our hometown called KB, where all the touring bands, when they came, international bands, they played at that club and then played Gothenburg and Stockholm. It's like the three biggest cities in Sweden.
Yeah.
And the first time we got to play there, it was a big thing. I think it was we were supporting a bigger band in our genre, and then you took all the steps. You got to have your release party, and then you continue to support your heroes there. And we had our 15-year anniversary with it was packed to you couldn't put in more people there, and it was that was a big step for us back then. But then also like getting out touring Europe and playing doing countries, the big cities in Europe, and also it was big steps with the touring, but it not of course we did, I must say again, Australia, because it was such a good tour with organization and production and the management we had there, the booking agency. So it was so professional. So since you've been around so long, you appreciate those things now. We started out, sleeping at floors in Germany in, abandoned house, like, I don't know, squat. They call it
Squat. Yeah.
squat. Yeah, yeah, like that, playing you really punk alternative, and coming up to that level, you appreciate those things when it's so professionally done. But also, yeah, the US tour was really crazy. It was a punk tour. I wouldn't say it was good, but it was such a big adventure, because we did from Chicago to New York and back, and it happened so much stuff there, and we met so much good people and crazy people, and we had crazy nights, and you know good things happen and bad things. That's so memorable. So it's like I don't want to do it like that again, but I don't want it to have it undone.
Yeah.
So it's like a part of the whole but separate shows. We did one crazy thing. We played it was the like concert hall in Las Palmas at the Canary Islands. It's like a vacation. All the Europeans go there on vacation. It's outside Africa.
Hmm.
Small. It belongs to Spain. So we go down there. It's like 6 hour flight, and there was a guy organizing a metal festival in the concert hall outside the main city there, and we got to headline one of the days there. And it was such a weird thing. It was a concert hall, with the big seats, the like a yeah, like a smaller arena.
Yeah.
And we did that, and so that's really memorable, because it's not a normal way where we perform, or like that kind of venue.
It was a unique experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. It was really memorable. And yeah, we did. I must think there. Yeah, but what comes up, just this fast was that. It's been so much. It's more like you remember a whole tour with a good vibe, and you remember that's not that memorable. Um, but I would like to point out that show that was really, for a separate show, that was a big thing for us. But it
Yeah.
also, yeah, but it's hard, supporting your heroes. We played with so many of our heroes. It was also a big thing, because then you had a hope that the audience would understand our music, because the bands we were playing with was such a huge influence on us. So, you know, different shows means different things, you know, in a way. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
what band did you guys open for that you were like, I never thought we would open for this band?
Um, we played with really good experience. We played with Red Fang and Torch. They did a package tour in Europe. I think it was 8 years ago, maybe. Yeah, 8 years ago. Yeah, it should be 16 or 17. Yeah. And we got to support them in Malmö and Stockholm. And that was really fun because, you know, we love those bands. They're not the biggest bands, but they're like they're so close to our kind of music and what we listen to, or
Yeah.
you know, so that was fun. And we played when we were, you know, 20 years ago, like 2000, yeah, like 18 years ago we started, and we opened for a big band in Sweden called Mustache, a mustache, and we got to open for them, and they were really huge in Sweden. They were, and that was a big thing back then also. But also playing like these classic places, like Islington in London. We did a tour with Truck Fighters where we supported them, and that was also a big thing. It's like a concert hall in London, and that was, yeah, it was, yeah, something special. But yeah, you know, playing with your heroes, it's always, and you played, you know, after or before on festivals, you always like um stay after the show and, you know,
Yeah.
check out the show, your heroes. So it's like, that's always special.
Yeah, that
What
that
we've
I think
done so much.
it's cool, and sometimes it can be hard too, like when you're opening for, these people that you listen to and look up to. You always hope, like if I meet them, I hope they're not an asshole, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, we supported Fu Manchu also. You know, there is so much during the years. I must check. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, supporting. Yeah, we did all that. We were supposed to support Master Magnet, but they canceled because he had some problems. It was 6 years ago or something. So we had those shows, and that's you know, big names in the genres. But you know, we have one leg in that, and we have one leg in like progressive metal, and I like, you know, so it's like, but there are bands that meant a lot to us.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
it's good that you guys have had that experience. I think a lot of bands don't have that um they don't have the drive to get to that level to have
Mm.
those opportunities. They
Mm.
go out and they play some shows, and like that's cool, right? If you just want to play a couple of shows, but sometimes it's nice to get out there and play with some bands that you look up to as well.
Yeah, I had really good memories, I must say.
That's awesome. All right. Andy, thank
Yeah,
you. I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your evening to come and hang out with me today and chat. It was fun, like learning
yeah.
about you and the
Thank you.
band.
Good talk.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having. Yeah, it was a good talk, man.
Yeah, for sure. I cannot wait to hear what you guys do after this next tour.
Nice to hear. We're looking forward to.
Awesome. Well, have yourself a
Okay.
great night.
Yeah, same to you, man.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so much.
Yep.
Bye bye.
Bye.